Welcome to your member update for this vodcast, your Health and Community Services Union. And for it, we're joined by the State Secretary, Robbie. Can we talk about, first of all, staff at Baptcare walking out?
Yeah, we saw aged care workers stop work for an hour. For aged care workers to walk off the job is a big step, and they only did that because their employer has failed to negotiate in good faith with them, and they've got a wages offer of just 2.5%, which is just pathetic when you consider the cost of living increases, and workers have said enough's enough. We deserve better. We need to be treated with respect, and walked off the job. So those workers are fighting hard to get improved wages and conditions.
I know they were saying that residents, they were at risk because of critical staff shortages. Is that right?
That's right. They're often short-staffed, and that does put residents at risk, and also means they often can't get out of bed when they want to get out of bed or get assistance to go to the toilet and things like that, just basic needs. So we need increased staffing. What was really good is when the workers actually stopped work, that some of the residents came out to support them, which was marvellous, and just shows that the residents are on board to see better conditions for their workers.
You called this a hostile management. How so?
The management's behaviour has been, really ridiculous. We saw a situation where some workers were simply handing out some badges to their colleagues, and they tried to use disciplinary action. They put them in the Fair Work Commission, but the Fair Work Commission actually threw it out and said how ridiculous it is. Workers are allowed to, take collective action. It's authorised, and they're allowed to talk to their colleagues and hand out badges. But to see that sort of behaviour from management has been really disappointing. And but the workers, despite all that intimidation, still walked off the job, which was fantastic.
And something hitting all the media outlets as well, ambulance call centre staff taking industrial action. Where are we at with that?
So the communications staff at Ambulance Tasmania, who, these are the ones who take the 000 calls when people are in emergency situations, they're regularly getting asked to change their shift with very short notice, less than 24 hours. And they've said they will only do that if they're getting paid the appropriate overtime rate that they should get for the change. Because, when your roster changes at short notice, it really impacts things like, your responsibility for children and other people that you care for, and there's costs associated with that. So the staff there have said enough's enough, we're going to fight to ensure that we're remunerated appropriately, but more importantly, they want to see their rosters fixed so that they don't need to change like they do all of the time.
Yeah, and I've spoken to some paramedics and also call centre staff, and they were saying that sometimes they can't even go to the bathroom in a very long shift because they can't get the time to leave their desk.
Yeah, this shouldn't be happening in a developed country like Australia, that a worker can't even go to the toilet when they need to go to the toilet. It's a really bad situation. They are so understaffed. They need more staff. And they've been saying this to management for over 12 months, but they've failed to do anything about it, and that's why they are taking some industrial action now. But it was totally avoidable had Ambulance Tasmania just had a plan around its staff. We're continuing to have discussions with Ambulance Tasmania in relation to that. We're hopeful that we'll be able to reach a resolution, but if not, staff will have to consider further industrial action.
Let's have a look back at 2024. What are some of those? I know it's hard to choose because there's been a lot, but just a couple of those really big wins.
Yeah, look, there's been so many this year. It's been fantastic to see members taking action and really winning. One of the big standouts is obviously the further rollout of the aged care work value case. This is a case that HACSU ran in the Fair Work Commission, and we were able to get up to 28% wage rises for some workers, and all aged care workers are getting a pay rise on the 1st of January 2025, which is fantastic. So that's been fantastic to see that rolled out. But we've seen lots of wins. We've seen in the public sector that medical imaging staff, pharmacy staff have been able to get a market allowance that was much needed to get so that they could recruit and retain staff in those areas. We've seen wins like the Hobart Clinic, which was a really big win for nurses over there that took on a really hostile management. So there's been so many things, and I'm annoyed now I've mentioned a few because there's so many other things I could mention, but it's just been a fantastic year for our union. We've grown by 1,000 members in a calendar year for the first ever time. That's fantastic because that means we're getting stronger. It means that things like hopefully we won't have to put up dues again this year. So, it makes a real difference. And I'm just so proud of our union and really looking forward to 2025.
Speaking of which, because I know you don't rest on, no one here at HACSU and members do, you've had some great wins, but I know that you're working just as hard for the next big wins, hopefully in 2025.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a big year in 2025, sorry. And, one of the main reasons is we've got all the public sector bargaining come up. So that's going to be huge. We're doing our log of claims for those at the moment. Obviously, a big issue is going to be the federal election. We've seen some fantastic achievements in the last 3 years under the federal Labor government, where we've got better industrial relation laws that really make a difference to our members, things like multi-employer bargaining, same job, same pay. Unfortunately, Peter Dutton has said he's going to roll these things back and probably do even worse, and we can't afford that. So we're going to be fighting hard to make sure Peter Dutton isn't Prime Minister, and that we continue to make the industrial relation laws better under a Labor government.
And as we wrap up this year with the last member update, have you got a message to all those healthcare workers and members right across the state that whilst we're celebrating, most of them are working?
Yeah, look, I do. I mean, when, as you say, most of us will be catching up with family, having a good time partying on Christmas Day and New Year's Eve and things like that. A lot of our members have to work those days, and in fact, often they're the busiest nights, especially for ambulance and hospital workers. So I just want to thank the workers for the amazing work they do looking after us, and wish everyone a happy new year and that they have a fantastic 2025.